backwards. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be good stuff. No, I'm excited. I'm excited for your possible death or your possible first murder.
Yeah. So,
good for you,
this
buddy.
may be the last time you guys hear me on this podcast.
Knives don't hurt that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll kill you.
Maybe they'll give me some good drugs.
You don't need to relapse right now? Oh, God. No, I didn't think about the possibilities. Oh, my God.
Not a relapse if the doctor gives it to you in the hospital. I'm not gonna, because that's, if I got stabbed, this is not me saying, oh, my ankle hurts, can you give me some drugs? This is look, we need to control the pain somehow, or you're gonna die.
Right. No, you're right.
But I don't want to get stabbed, though. Hear my words.
You shouldn't want that.
I do not want the possibility of death.
Right. If you do get stabbed and you end up in the hospital and the doctor's like, oh, you're just trying to score drugs, I'd be like, have you not listened to our podcast? He said he didn't want this.
I specifically said,
no stabbings, please. Now, if you get shot, bring on them drugs.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this is scary.
Okay, so moving on to other news.
Yes.
In our I guess it would be a sister podcast. It's the other podcast that we're familiar
our other
with,
podcast that I have stepped back from quite a bit,
but still help out.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel like it's like I am a part of it. I just don't do it.
Yeah, baby.
You've kind of you've taken the lead because I'm busy. I just don't.
You got shit to do. You have a blossoming new relationship with a lovely lady.
Yeah.
You have to focus on that.
Been doing a lot of stand-up. I've got a lot of stand-up coming up.
I do a whole lot less stand-up. Yeah. Almost to the point where it's non-existent.
You do almost no stand-up.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
You should
do more stand-up.
My only audience right now is a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. I don't have to say a word, man. It's a whole lot of fart noises. And I blow on their bellies a little bit. And they're like, man, you are funny.
What if you did a one-man show where you just blew on everybody's bellies?
Tell you what, the next time I do stand-up, I will invite somebody up. And you'd be like, all right, motherfucker, here it comes. You want a raspberry? Here it comes. I'm going to hold his arms over his head, and he's going to be Bud Light drunk. He's like, no, man. No, I had nachos. Meanwhile, just... You like that? You're like, who's funny? Who's funny? He's like, you are. You. Blah. Oh, there's that Bud Light nachos. Bud Light everywhere. Sorry about your stage. I'm gonna get out of here. But yeah, no, I do a whole lot less stand up now.
For sure.
So my time is open to go work. I write a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been working on some scripts.
Nice.
Been working on some scripts. My plans for this summer are to do a lot more filmmaking.
Nice.
I like to put some stuff together. And then time with my kids.
Yeah.
And then doing the podcasts. And
podcasts are fun.
Yeah, absolutely. There might be people out there that listen to these and go, these guys they don't talk about anything of substance. And to those people I say, yep.
You're absolutely right.
That's correct. Yep. If you don't want to know what's going on in me and Jake's lives,
I was going to say,
who gives
there's a niche market for just about everything. If you want to listen to something of substance, may I recommend Joe Rogan's podcast? He talks about all sorts of weird,
and he interviews
deep shit.
He interviews more interesting people than we talk to. Jake,
oh yeah,
Jake, I'm not all that interesting.
No, I'm not either.
We live lives.
Yeah,
we move with the ebb and flow of life.
We like butts and food and
we
dirty
like
jokes.
Yeah, we like butts and boobies. We love Hooters. I just like saying Hooters.
I do love Hooters.
We like food. We like video games. We like sports. We like stupid shit. We like fart jokes. We like dick jokes.
I love a good fart and dick joke.
Right.
If you can meld them.
Yeah, yes. Baby. If you can combine the two, cool. Fart, dick joke, dick fart, whatever.
Dick fart.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to start a new company called Dick Fart Productions.
A dick fart is what I call coming when I've already come like 6 times that day. It's just a fart.
I was thinking it was like a male queef.
Yeah, that's not it.
Yeah, no.
It's when you just have no more ejaculate to get rid of.
Yeah.
This is gross. Sorry, guys.
That actually reminded me of my favorite Chad Daniels bit ever.
Chad Daniels, he came to Augustana once, and
I'm sad that I missed it.
He does the joke about he has this joke about how his wife is an environmental sciences teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they forgot their plastic bags, and one of her students was one of the cashier was a student of hers, and the cashier was like, "Oh, you didn't bring your bags?"
Yeah. I'll step on your stomach. Yeah.
He's like, what I am going to do is I'm going to protect my wife, and I'm going to turn out the lights half an hour early, and just reminisce on the sound of me ending your life, or so. I don't know. Obviously,
he said something about reducing his
carbon footprint.
Yeah, his carbon footprint. He's like, what I'm not going to get a gun because that would release CO2 or whatever. Blah blah blah. But what I will do, and talks about like killing her,
choking the life out of her or something.
He also had another joke, which made me think of him by when I said queef.
Yeah.
Because he said his daughter meant to say Queen Latifah, but said Queef Latina. And she said, he said, one of the cutest things you could possibly hear is your young daughter referring to an Oscar award-winning actress as a Mexican pussy fart. I just thought it was funny.
He was one of the first he was one of the first people that I really got into when I started, like right before I started doing stand-up. I was watching a lot just to like, I was like kind of re-immersing myself in the stand-up world. But he has this joke about like, he's like, you hear a lot of comedians talk about not wanting to get tampons, and how hard it is to get tampons. He's like, it's not a big deal. He's like, but I can't remember the whole joke, but what I remember is like, he's like, this is something you've never heard a woman say. What kind of tampons do you want? Oh, I don't know, just not the wooden ones again.
Yeah. Somebody also talked about, I forget who it was. Forgive me. But another comedian talked about how difficult it was to get tampons, whatever. And I'm guessing it was like an Anthony Jeselnik type of comedian. Because they said something about, well, I'm sure if a man walked up to you and offered to buy your tampons, you'd be okay with it. Like, the joke being that women are so embarrassed about buying tampons.
Yeah.
That, I don't know. I probably fucked it up. But, yeah, so, all right. So, the Therapy is a Joke podcast, I recorded the latest episode on Saturday. Meant to record it last Wednesday, but my guest, Shane Hollister's wife, was sick, so he kind of had to do the husband thing and stay at home with his wife. So I was like, that's fine. It gives us a couple more days to get some fan questions and all that. And then Saturday, we were able to finally sit down and record. And I showed up with every intention of stealing him away, hopping in my car, and recording the episode in the car while we drove around and like got milkshakes. Like I felt that'd be something fun to do. Yeah. He does a stellar Stone Cold Steve Austin impression.
Go on.
And I thought it'd be fun for him to like order milkshakes as Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah. I agree.
And like I don't know how many places we do that at. Like we'd probably do that at like 4 or 5 restaurants and just get milkshakes as Stone Cold Steve Austin. Have a little fun with it. But I showed up at his house, and as I came inside, he reintroduced me to his wife, said hi, and she was out the door to go get alcohol. I was like, oh shit, all right. And they're like, what do you want? I was like, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. So from that point, I knew we were staying in the house.
Okay.
So she went out to go get alcohol. Shane and I went downstairs where I met his dog. And his dog was not a fan of mine, but
what kind of dog was it?
It was a pit bull.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a chunky little thing. chunky little guy that they called Flash.
Okay.
Okay. And so I met Flash, learned that Flash was not a fan of mine, and Flash went upstairs.
Okay.
And then Shane and I started talking. He showed me some videos on YouTube of some popular metal bands.
Okay.
We talked music for a little bit, talked wrestling, and then I set the recording stuff up, and then we started to record the podcast. Long story short, 2.5 hours later, we rounded up the episode, and we called it one, and I took off and came home. I was able to throw together a logo and upload the episode shortly before midnight, Saturday night, and all was well. Had a lot of fun talking to Shane. He and I, we sat and drank, shot for shot, drink for drink, and just talked about wrestling over the last few years.
Nice.
And all that. It was a fun conversation. Granted, what I've tried to do with the past episodes of Therapy is a Joke is just to try and delve deeper into whoever we're talking to,
right.
and kind of figure out why they do what they do, what drives them, that kind of thing, in hopes that we get some feel good story at the end of, like, why you should follow your dreams and that kind of thing.
Right.
That's my hope anyway. I fear that episode with Shane, it just a lot of drunken stories. We talk a little bit about some of the guys that he's wrestled that are in WWE now and on the independents still and that kind of thing. Because Shane is retired from in-ring competition, but there's still a lot of fun stories that we reminisce about, and it was a fun conversation. So I suggest if you are a professional wrestling fan, or just a fan of two guys sitting around and shooting the shit and talking about the good old times, fun stuff, go give that episode a listen. Granted, it is over 2.5 fucking hours long,
right.
So pack a lunch.
I think, I don't know. I always think, like, when you do something like this, you have expectations for how it's going to turn out. Yeah. And when you get rid of those expectations, for one, it goes smoother, but then you don't have to worry about whether they met your expectations because you don't have them. But I always think, like, if
it's not fitting the formula. Yeah. But then the formula gets in the way of your process.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly right. I think, like, if you think, I want to delve deeper about why they do it, but, Shane's just like, look, I just like to wrestle. There wasn't any, like, deep down, like, I needed to prove something to my father, or I wanted to, be a role model for, sometimes people don't, they just do what they like to do. And maybe the conversation lends itself to that, and you just talk about the fun times you had, and that's okay too.
And that was definitely something that was definitely something that I didn't understand before, and I learned from that conversation too, was that Shane wasn't out to prove anything to anybody, other than the fact that
maybe he just enjoyed wrestling. That's all.
And that's exactly it. Other than the fact that when it comes to other professional, like The Undertaker, Triple H, like big name guys like that, Shane is still a relatively smaller guy.
Right.
I'm a little bit taller than Shane, but for the most part, he wasn't even trying to prove that little guys can do it too. He's just like, I like wrestling.
Yeah.
Here the fuck I come.
Right.
So, but it was a fun conversation, and I had a lot of fun reminiscing because he brought up a story that I enjoyed greatly.
Yeah.
Not very many people know, but when I used to wrestle, when I was a little bit more ingrained in the wrestling scene back in the day, I happened to book a show with my buddies Steven and Eric a few years ago now, and we booked a show for what we called Adrenaline Society Wrestling. Okay, you got to have the big poppy names, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
So we booked a show down at Penguins when it was still downtown at the train station.
Okay.
And we booked a wrestling show got all these people, and Shane was one of the wrestlers that we were able to book.
Excuse me.